Welcome back to the Dragon Ball Legends video. So for this one, we have something really special. We have a producer interview that we're going to go ahead and read through, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it in regards to the upcoming game, and it will shed a lot of light on like the game and what came to its concept and all that stuff. Hope you all enjoy this. Subscribe if you're new, and if you would like to read this by yourself, the link will be down below in the description as well. Shout out to Rick over on Twitter for sharing this with me as well. Let's go ahead and jump into a new game application, Dragon Ball Legends, what it is, what is its charm and gameness. Interesting word there. Either way, by the way, I want to point out that this is actually Google translated, so you might find some wonky translations in here a little bit, but for the most part I think it's going to be pretty consistent. You can kind of see where they talk about Dokkan battle. Google always changes Dokkan to docking because Dokkan actually does not have a literal translation, because if you didn't know, it's not even a word in any way, shape, or form. It's a sound effect, basically. It's equivalent to something like POW. So Dokkan battle is just literally like sound effect battle, you know? It's used to depict epicness, basically. Let's go ahead and jump in, though. A new application game, Dragon Ball Legends, whose details were found on March 22nd, 22 March. I've been listening to the details about Kaito Ikeda, forgive me if I mispronounce the name, of Bandai Namco Entertainment, the producer of the work, about the game nature and planning startup. Please tell me the background of the planning and launching of Dragon Ball Legends. So here's going to talk about what, again, like I just mentioned, led to the concept of Dragon Ball Legends. And he says, although it is an application game currently being distributed, meaning that it's, you know, a game that they're still working on, it is not fully out yet, even though that's kind of misleading, I guess. So never mind. I was wrong. Although it's a game that's currently being distributed, Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle is what led to the inspiration. And he's saying, even though this is a game that's currently still out, so that wasn't misleading. My mistake. Won't happen again. Since starting its operation, we have received various voices and requests from customers all over the world. Yes, you guys, they do listen to feedback. That's pretty interesting. If only they listened to it in terms of upgrading their own game, Dokkan. We planned to produce new applications reflecting such voices and requests, and the project started. The launch policy, was to challenge the limits that have been realized with smartphones and all. So basically they're saying, we got feedback, and we planned to use that feedback to produce new games, and that's how we got to Dragon Ball Legends, which is actually very interesting to think about, and it lends credence to the fact that the Dragon Ball franchise is literally as strong, if not stronger, than it has ever been in terms of public perception. They are literally going out of their way to pop out game after game after game, and that's why, you know, over the course of the last couple of months, we've heard about all these different little pocket games. We haven't heard about a new main console game yet, but we've heard about all these little pocket games in the sense that they'll be, well, I guess mobile games can be in your pocket, right? And then Cross Keepers as well. I was going to call it X Keepers, but Cross Keepers, that's a PC game, but it's kind of that same ilk. So that's why you've kind of seen a lot of those pop up. And this one is going to definitely get translated. It really seems like all the other ones, honestly, are not going to be, because this one already is translated. But that's really interesting. Dokkan has led to a whole lot of other games, basically a slew of games, trying to branch off of Dokkan's success, because we hear a lot about the fact that Dokkan is this and that, it's bad for this and that reason, but you can't deny the impact it has had on the franchise as a whole, bringing a lot of new people into the franchise, and how successful the game has been thus far, despite its relatively simplistic gameplay. So back to the interview over here. He said they wanted to challenge the limits of a smartphone, which this game is really honestly going to be pushing that, because it's very, you know, graphic intensive. As a result of sticking to the commitment, it took over 2.5 years to get the announcement for the project start, or from the project start. So they have been working on this for 2.5 years. So literally they started working on this just like, I don't know, 7 or 8 months after Dokkan was released in Japan. So about the time Dokkan got a global release is whenever they started working on this. And, you know, Global's about to hit its 3-year anniversary sometime in, I believe, June or July, in that area. But literally about a month after Global got its release, because, you know, there's a gap between Global and JP Dokkan, is when they started working on this game's concept. And that actually is before the game became such a huge, resounding success. Dokkan Battle, it is. So as a result of sticking to it, it took over 2.5 years. Technique verification, such as how far 3D graphics move with the smartphone, how much operability can be dropped, took more than a year. And the interesting thing about this is technology changes daily. You know, that's very literal, but at the very least, technology is different on a yearly basis. You know, new, more powerful phones. Some of them retread stuff, but that is what, you know, it is what it is. So they literally concepted this game amidst all of that, while constantly finding ways, and it took them a while probably to reach a level where they could put this game out on these smartphones and have it run smoothly, right? Because we've seen a huge change in these phones and all that stuff over the course of the last few years, you know, whether it be iOS or Android, just a huge change in the technology in these phones. The performance of smartphones has changed from the beginning of the planning. Yeah, see, I'm a little bit ahead of them, but yeah, that's exactly what came to my mind. You know, the interviewer asked, the performance of smartphones has changed from the beginning of planning, is it not? That point was very hard. Specs are improving. Do you not think? Do you not think? That's interesting. Again, Google Translate. In the early days of making it, I built a target with smartphones with the top class performances, but it has been becoming the standard after 2.5 years. That's what I'm saying. Like, technology changes so much. The specs on these phones is just like, you know what? But that is to the benefit of this game, because it allows them to have more avenue for, you know, adding more things into the game and more room for error. So please tell us the game characteristics and features of Legends. Dragon Ball-like action battle is one of the biggest features of having one hand and holding it with one finger. You can enjoy an exhilarating action battle with simple operation. So yes, we have seen how this is very simplistic game. I've actually likened it to Ultimate Tenkaichi because, you know, you do, not graphics-wise, this game has a lot of like Xenoverse graphics and stuff, and it makes sense that it has models from that type of stuff because it is produced by Dimps, so that's pretty interesting. But I've likened it to Ultimate Tenkaichi because it's simplistic in that you do a couple of things and the character kind of carries out on its own. So, and then of course the action cards, they do stuff on their own as well. So you can enjoy an exhilarating action battle with simple operation. We see a couple of screenshots there. Those look awesome. Also, being able to play against all players in the world is one of the features. So yes, they are obviously trying to sell PvP as this game's main sell point, and I don't blame them because a lot of games come out with PvP later on in their lifestyle. They focus on getting the core game done, but this one is going to be a game that comes out with PvP, it seems. You know, it may not come out with the service being 100% available, but it's going to be implemented, you know, and it'll remain to be seen whether it actually launches with the game and, you know, we get it with no delay, or if it takes a month for the PvP service to come up. But I doubt it, considering how they've integrated this with Google services. Now, again, it'll remain to be seen what they do with iOS, but at least with Google's cloud services. So also being able to play against all players is one of the features. With the latest technology, you can play against the rivals of all over the world freely on smartphone lines. And since the development team is full of love for Dragon Ball, LOL, even with the character of the lowest reality character, the graphics are cool. You can make a big success in the battle. The voices that occur only under certain conditions without knowing are implemented, or love put in every character, is one of the best smartphone games. So they're really trying to tell you that they worked hard on this, which is interesting too because of the fact that it has full dialogue as well. That to me is a really telling thing, because a lot of these games have like some minor lines or things like that, you know, in terms of like the story, and this game may do it too, but this game's gonna have full dialogue throughout the course of the battle as well. You know, and not just random like punch action sounds, basically. So they really worked hard on this. You can really tell. And they were saying basically there's love put into every character, despite how popular that character is in terms of, you know, actual fandom. You know, a character like the Cyberman, for example, will still have a chance to beat Super Saiyan Goku. So basically what I'm interpreting from that. Elements from breeding of characters are also substantial. Oh. So you can train your favorite characters, Tokutans. I don't know what that is. Perhaps how to play is Mr. Dodoria aim for the world's strongest. Playing with Dodoria. Oh, that's interesting. What is the point that pursued Dragon Ball likeness? It's the speed of the battle. Trying to reproduce intense action games like home games or smartphones tend to make the operation complicated by all means. It was hard to simplify such complicated operations and to keep operation feeling from being lost. In addition, I also stuck to graphics of characters, not only characters, but also graphics that make me wonder the scenes of the original animation scene in the background. Interesting. So he's saying he tried to make it as close as he could to the actual, you know, original content, the anime and stuff like that. It's a very precise commitment. Even if I lose, the characters get stronger by gaining experience value. I try to reproduce the warriors of the Dragon Ball, which will become strong through the fight even a little. Interesting. What is the intention of the name Legends? I mean, the meaning of legendary warriors, because the original story is someone holds a tournament to collect warriors from various times and decides the strongest. Oh, that actually reminds me of Dragon Ball Fusions, kind of, right? That's literally Dragon Ball Fusions. So basically the story in the game is based off of Dragon Ball Fusions. I don't want to say it's based off of that, but it's basically like a really similar idea. So someone holds a tournament to collect warriors from various times and decides the strongest. And I say it's similar because, you know, in that, I believe they found the Dragon Balls, Tekken Penich, and stuff like that. But that's interesting. Who is Mr. Ikeda's favorite character? Originally, he was a fan of Vegeta. Since becoming in charge of Legends, I am absorbed in Paikuhan and Nappa. Shout out to Paikon. The reason why I came to like Paikuhan, I hope you understand if you play the game. Nappa has some special techniques. There are techniques that are hard to apply and difficult to avoid. Interesting. So he's hinting at the characters not only playing differently, but their action cards playing differently as well, which is something I didn't know they would implement. I thought it could be a given, but also I don't want to put anything past them because this is a mobile game. It's questionable how much effort they will truly put into these games. And the cool thing about this mobile game is that, yes, again, it's ripping a lot of stuff from console games. Some people have even called it like a Xenoverse on mobile or something like that. It's ripping a lot of stuff like combos and stuff, just the looks, the aesthetics, but it's still a mobile game, right? It's almost as if you're taking that game from the console and putting it in your pocket, which is awesome. Like, I wouldn't mind that at all. The graphic gimmick was very funny because I love Nappa and the development team. I got an influence. From the players, I am very happy with the development team as long as I can hear the voice that I fell in love with the character after playing Legends. I'm also very excited Paikon's in the game. He doesn't make it into a lot of games. Dokkan Battle is distributed as an application game, but what kind of difference did you aim for? Dokkan Battle has the theme of nostalgia. For that reason, it looks like Cardados-like design. So he's not talking about Dragon Ball IC Cardados, but just Cardados in that it plays with cards. It's a card game, basically. 2D battle graphics reminiscent of old home game machines and so on. Also, the game is simple. That's an understatement. I think that it is the content that knocks out the deadly technique by one-tap operation gently with the one-player play as the main so that anyone can play easily anywhere and beat the enemy. On the other hand, Legends emphasizes newness and operating. No, don't do that to Dokkan. Newness and operation feeling, and incorporates elements such as voice and battle that were frequently requested. I hope that people like, I want to move characters and I want to fight will be more enjoyable. So yeah, he's basically saying Dokkan is a card game, and it's plays on nostalgia, and it's very simple, and all of those things are facts. But the key difference for Legends is that they tried to make it different. They wanted to make it more Dragon Ball-esque, wanted to make it more of an action game, and make it more of, you know, something you can get into, you know? This game will definitely be harder, though, I will say. I can definitely assure you that, because it's not as simple as clicking an orb and watching everything else kind of follow through in 2D. So yeah, although Legends aiming at a different experience from Dokkan Battle, I think that both can provide experiences as Dragon Ball, and that is true. So a lot of people are saying, hey, this game's gonna end Dokkan, rip Dokkan, and that's arrogant, to be honest. That's not true. Dokkan will be fine, it'll be strong, but I will say that I think that Dokkan, since it's been operational for 3 years, I think it's about time they start trying to phase it out. They'll ride it as long as they can, but it's inevitable that Dokkan will wane in popularity over the course of maybe the next year to year and a half, 2 years maximum, because a lot can change. And I think that by that time they'll start phasing it out. We may even see Dragon Ball like Dokkan Battle 2.0 or something like that. And then this game will still be around, going strong, presumably. So, you know, it's not going to end Dokkan. Dokkan will still do its thing, still pull in numbers. But this will just be something else that other people can play. Me personally, you know, when I'm not playing Dokkan, I'll play this. When I'm not playing this, I'll play Dokkan. It doesn't really matter. But I guess maybe if you don't have the phone space, it does matter. So either way, hope you all enjoyed this. Subscribe if you're new. This was definitely a very, very fun read. Check out DragonBall.news as well for other Dragon Ball news. And again, this link will be down below in the description. Make sure you turn on translate for it too, because you won't be able to read it. Anyways, have an awesome day. I'll catch you all in the next one, guys. Take it easy.